Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, September the 16th, rather, in the year 2025. And welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. Robert Redford passed this last 24 hours. He was 89 years old. He was an actor and an activist, and he gave us a lot of pleasure over the years with the movies that he made. And we wish him, his family, or whomever, well. Here's one for you guys. In 1847, General Winfield Scott led United States forces to victory in the Mexican-American War by capturing Mexico City. This decisive action led to the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in February 1848, which formally ended the war and gave the United States territory that later became, check this out now, California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, most of Arizona and Colorado, and parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Wyoming. And we dogged the Mexicans out. There was another shooting, and where can the blame be placed seems to be the sentiment after last week's shooting of Charlie Kirk, who I'd never heard of before last week, to be honest with you. So who can we blame? The governor of Utah got it right. He says we can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence. It metastasizes because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp or it's going to be much, much worse. Now, it's usually the job of the president of the United States to unify the nation in moments of rupture and sorrow. But on Friday, it was the governor of Utah who decided that he would give it a try. He said, I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with our eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. He made an appeal for the practice of forgiveness, urging the country to find a way to lower the political temperature. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country, he said. So what did the president of the United States have to say? Did he make an attempt to unite people? He was quick to lay the blame for America's gruesome tally of political violence on his political opponents. He said the radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. That's the reason they're radical, because they don't want to see crime. The radicals on the left are a problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Now, where I grew up on the streets of Birmingham, they call that kind of talk the okie doke. The okie doke was as full of shit as the person trying to pull an okie doke to create a diversion. An okie doke is a diversion. Let's change the subject and talk about something else. Anyway, our G-list guest today is a round table, and we might talk about the okie doke. Who knows? Round table for myself, Mychal, Barbara, and Barbara. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the Best Girl consulting firm. So let's catch up to Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's get to our roundtable discussion with Barbara Wallace Edwards, Barbara Larkin, and Mychal Walker. Good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
How's
Doing
everybody
well.
doing?
Good morning.
Y'all never, Mychal probably heard of the okie doke. Y'all probably never heard of the okie doke. The
Opiates don't
okie
add
doke
up.
when somebody wants to change the subject and they're talking bullshit.
Yeah,
That's
sir.
what the president was talking. Okie doke. It's like, man,
Oh,
nobody
yes.
go for that. You know,
Yeah,
but some
exactly.
people will. So he just reminded me of the okie doke, and I said, yeah, well, that's I'll bring that on. We'll revive the okie doke because Trump's trying to revive it. So, What's going on in your world, Barbara Wallace Edwards?
Well, Tom, I want to start by saying happy belated birthday to my brother, Thom Larkin, the husband of my dear sister, Barbara Larkin. Tom celebrated his birthday yesterday. I wasn't there in town to help them celebrate, but I want to wish him a very happy, happy birthday. And on another note, sad note, I offer condolences to the family of a dear friend and a former coworker of mine, Lynn, who passed away over the weekend after a long illness. Mychal was a renowned chef, business owner, and truly one of the best people you could ever meet. He never met a stranger. Mychal would give the shirt off his back. And again, I offer my condolences to his family and friends. And he had many. So sad that he has left us, but his memory will live on with us forever.
Barbara Larkin, how are you this morning? Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I am happy to be here.
For us this morning.
Yeah, after a whirlwind week, it has been amazing. I do want to chime in with Barbara about Mychal Glenn, probably one of the most generous men I've ever met in my life. Dedicated, extremely hardworking, and his talent is well known throughout the state of Alabama. And he took care of his friends. He took care of people who he felt he needed to help. And he completely took over Thom and my wedding. We, here I was at 67 getting married the second time. And I said, oh boy, all this work. All I want to do is get my dress and walk. And he said, all you have to do, I'll take care of the rest.
And he did.
Oh my God. Didn't he do it, Barbara?
Yes, he did.
And that's just, yeah, it was phenomenal. And that's just one of the many, many things that he has done for us as his friend, and Thom as his longtime family friend, knowing his mom and his sisters and his brothers. It's a great loss for us, and we are going to have to adjust. We will miss him. We will miss him.
What's the guy's name again?
Mychal
Glenn.
Glynn.
He owned a company, Catering by Ambrosia, Thom, and he also, he and his family opened a restaurant in the historic district, 4th Avenue district, near the Carver Theater, Gabriella's. And again, Mychal was just so well known and loved by everyone he ever met. I mean, he was soft spoken, but when he spoke, everybody listened because he had something important to say. His talents were just, as Barbara say, unmeasurable. The man, not only was he a great chef, but floral designer, decorator,
all of that.
All of that.
Yes, and had the most unique laugh you have ever heard. I could just, I mean, it was just loud, and it
radiate a room.
I mean, it would make the walls shake.
Yes.
And but you when he was laughing, you had to laugh because his laugh would make you laugh. And but he was just the joy of so many lives and fed so many people who didn't have food to eat. Even at the restaurant, people would come, and he would still serve them. He was just that generous kind of guy.
Sounds like a great one.
We miss him.
Yes.
Okay.
We do. Yeah.
Michael Walker says when he talks, people listen too. Michael, what's going on this morning?
So true.
In my own mind, they listen. Well, good morning, everybody. And Barbara, sorry about your loss. It sounds like a great guy. It's funny how things change with the okey doke in chief. He's the negotiator chief. He's the okey doke.
Good name for him. That's the okey doke
chief. Yeah, I like that much better than negotiator in chief, Mychal. That sounds a lot better. More descriptive.
I'm gonna write that down. That sounds.
Well, and speaking of such, you remember the sister Lisa Cook, who happens to be the first African American appointed to the Federal Reserve Board and to serve as a governor. Well, she's going to get a chance to vote this week.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see how she votes. But what's more interesting and what you don't hear much about is that all of that hoopla that was made about her committing some type of crime or committing fraud on her application.
Mhm.
It was all
Well,
a
the
lie.
thing that she was accused of, there are 3 people in Trump's cabinet that did the same thing she was accused of. And you don't hear anything about them, and Trump doesn't say anything about them. But it's also come out that on the house in Atlanta, she listed it as a secondary place of residence.
Mhm.
Okay. And you remember when we first talked about that, and I said, what's interesting is people go through a vetting process before they are appointed to these boards.
Right.
So wouldn't that have come up
Mhm.
If
before?
it had been an issue, it would have, Mychal, but it wasn't an issue.
Right.
Correct.
So he wanted to make it an issue and wanted to railroad her off of the board.
Mm-hmm.
And he was using her ethnicity as a way to build up
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
And come to find out, looks like she hadn't done anything wrong.
She
But
hasn't. And we knew that all along.
she listed it as a secondary residence.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Okay.
the sad part is, Mychal, he probably knew that and still put it out there just
Of
to be
course.
misleading and to try to get people behind him and push her off the board. Maybe thinking she would resign because, she just didn't want all of the issues that would come along with it. But I am so proud of that sister
I am
standing up for
too.
herself
Yes.
and
And his
standing her
members,
ground.
his mega people just ate that up. They
Oh,
just,
yes.
and they don't read, they don't think, they don't do any of that. They just take whatever he spoons feeds them and just say, "Ooh, it was so delicious," and not knowing that it's going to choke and catch them right here because they don't have the money that he's trying to get.
Right.
That's what he's interested in, is
That's
money.
all. That is all.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Barbara, you said something interesting. You said his people don't read. Well,
mm-mm,
it's allegedly that he doesn't read either. So,
I think you're right.
I'm not sure he can read, Mychal. If you listen to some of those speeches, he's supposed to be reading a teleprompter, and he's
Oh.
not. He's not following along. So maybe he's
He has
desperately
found
reading.
that it is much more expedient for him to just sling arrows at people
Mhm.
and throw a lot of okey doke out there.
Right.
And his people go for it, man.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
they'll
yes, yes.
go for it.
And I think part of that was an okey doke move to get the heat off of him about the Epstein
Think about.
files,
Oh,
Ain't
Right.
no
yeah.
because
doubt about it.
now,
Absolutely.
we're hearing that there was an attempt to remove his name or delete his name off of the elite list
Hmm.
of all the powerful people.
Right.
So, which we felt all along, that's what was there anyway.
Right.
You
But
know,
Mychal, didn't they come out and say that he was an informant?
I mean, they got fun.
I had to
Come
laugh
on,
at this. Did
you
not
know.
come out and say that
So
he was involved with Epstein because he was a FBI
he's a
informant?
convicted felon, man.
There you go, Tom. That's the answer.
Probably interfering with our signal right now.
So
well, yeah,
I don't
that
know what's going
I
on
did hear
there.
something about that. That was ridiculous. Um, Tom, you
Waiting on
mentioned
this thing to straighten up. Good morning, everybody in the chat. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you had a good 2 weeks. We missed you last.
I don't know what that was.
I'm not either.
Well,
A
Okay,
little
maybe
difficulty. To,
okay, maybe Tom will be back in a minute.
Right.
But
he'll be back.
let's talk about what's hitting the headlines right now, and
Yes.
that's
Oh,
Charlie Kirk
Yes.
and
mhm.
his assassination. Um, whenever anyone is killed, there's some despair, disappointment in our society that we're at this point that, I mean, you can't turn on the news without somebody getting shot.
Right.
And I do not celebrate the young man assassination. However, the fact that so many people on one side of the aisle rushed to judgment and, accused him of being, you know, a radical leftist and all of this type of stuff and wanting to blame it pretty much on people that are the Democratic Party is basically
Right.
what they're saying.
Right.
when it is turning out that he may just been a very confused young man
Right.
and having some issues. Because
Right.
having a roommate that's transitioning from a male to a female, and this is your roommate, there's some stuff going on between him, his roommate, his family, and all of that. His
Right.
grandmother comes out and says the entire family of MAGA people and stuff. She was quoted in the newspaper. So it seems like there's just a lot of stuff going on and to unpack. And I don't see this as being something that one side or the other can blame it on anybody. There was a problem with this young man from a mental standpoint. What do you guys
Absolutely.
think?
I agree with you, Michael. And the fact that they tried to blame it on the left, on the Democratic Party, says a lot about them. Again, before they had any information, any proof of anything, they lashed out and said that it was all
Cut out on my end. So
it's all someone else's fault, and it's instead of looking within or waiting till the proof was there, which resulted in HBCUs being threatened. They had to actually close down campuses because nationwide people were angry at the left. No one on these college campuses did anything. They weren't involved in that at all. But
they
they
were easy
chose
target.
easy targets. Absolutely.
And I feel for his family, because when a family member dies, especially when you leave small children,
Hmm.
it's heartbreaking. And I feel for the family, because the family death is never ever easy,
Never
no matter
easy.
who it is.
Right.
But I personally do not equate his murder with an assassination. He was
I
not a
agree.
JFK. In my opinion, he was not a Martin Luther King. He was not a
He
president.
was just
He
killed.
he
Right.
was simply murdered.
Right.
And when I look back at some of his debates, as he calls it,
Hmm.
with college students, he's a 30-year-old man
Right.
trying to debate 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds and early 20-year-old people who are in their learning stages,
Right.
finding their footing. He has found what he has found for his life. And this man made a lot of money
Going
off
campus to
of,
campus. Yes.
yes, he made a lot of money because of his followers, because of his sponsors. He made a lot of money. It was about the money. And a lot that I heard on his debates did not make sense
Not at all.
for
Right.
me. Now, maybe it did for some others, but it didn't make sense for me. It's a sad situation. This man is dead. However, his philosophy is it when he died, more people came out who had not professed being part of Magna.
Right.
And they came out and they dropped the flags. They
Hmm.
Was he worthy of a half? I mean, who was that? I didn't get it. So maybe somebody can explain that to me. Michael, why? I mean, half mast, putting the flags at half staff. It's kind of, we reserve that for something a little different, I thought.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Barbara.
Hmm.
And in
Hmm.
looking at this, and you touched on some of his rhetoric and what he was doing at college campuses. This is the same guy that was going around at college campuses talking about dismantling diversity, equity, and
Hmm.
inclusion.
Hmm.
He was the same guy that was going to corporate America and pushing them to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
Hmm.
Uh, he's the same guy that accused, um, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was quoted as saying that black women are taking away a job for men or something to that effect.
hey,
So
Hmm.
Uh,
it's qualified people, is what he said. He's attacking Judge Ketanji Brown and others who are well qualified, well educated,
Of course.
and deserve to be in those positions. But he's saying they only got those jobs because they were black, and
yes,
that they took jobs away from qualified people, and in his mind, people that look like him should have been in those jobs instead. So but again, many of the MAGAs believe that, Michael, and it's
yeah,
really sad, but because they think DEI means somebody was just handed something that they didn't deserve. Where
Well,
now you have the entire cabinet basically handed positions that they didn't deserve and not qualified for.
Oh, not at
If that's
all.
not DEI, I don't know what is.
Absolutely. And the thing of it is that they never read the rules that were set in place for DEI. Its
Mhm.
purpose was to help provide a level playing
Playing
field.
field.
They never
Yes.
talk about the historical playing field where white men got the jobs, white
Right.
women didn't get much, but they were the next in line.
Right.
Black men got the job, and black women were at the bottom.
Right.
Well, that's the way it was. But this had to change because men, be they black, be they white, there was a certain percentage of men who had abandoned families.
Mm-hmm.
White guys did it. They abandoned families, and somebody had to be the breadwinner. And
Right.
so the wife had to go out and make a living. That was part of the problem that DEI was a solution to help make that level playing
Playing
field.
field.
These people don't read, they don't study, they don't look at history, don't know it, and they want to create a history that never existed.
Right.
We are the dream of the enslaved. We
Yes.
went to PWI schools and became. So are you invalidating our PWI education? We sat next to you.
Right.
We competed against you. And we not only produce, we put the work out. We can show that. But you don't want to talk about that. You want to just talk about, well, it's like you are an EEOC what is it, EEOC, or what was it
Mm-hmm.
before DEI, Mychal?
Affirmative action.
Yeah, you're an affirmative action person. Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, put your resume down and put mine down. Let's take a look at it.
Exactly.
But
Don't
Right.
that's
want
the
to do that.
reason. But see, Barbara, you just answered your own question as to why Trump is ordering flags at half staff, and they are carrying on like they are, is because he was carrying the flag for Trump DEI
He was.
disbandment.
He
Okay,
was.
and so, and then on the other side, this is the other part about this, is that looking at his age and what he was spewing and his following, he was actually, and this is just me,
Hmm.
I'm looking at him, he was building to get into a position to run for president.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh
That
yes.
was the strategy.
Yes.
That's why the
Absolutely.
Trump people are behind him and all of this, because they got somebody that's a disciple of
Right.
getting rid of DEI and anything that seemed to be able to give people of a certain ethnic background a leg up,
Right.
when in the broader scope, DEI is for people with physical, mental challenges, as well as people that have been historically
Discriminated
down
against.
discriminated against.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Yes.
all of that,
Yeah,
and
and
there are
would they
protected classes throughout that, and
and
it's funny, I enjoy talking to people that want to talk to me about DEI,
Right.
because I'm the wrong one to talk to about that. But what I like to do is I sit there and I look at them and I'll tell them that to classify DEI based off of ethnicity is a lazy way of looking at
Right.
what DEI stand for. And if that's all you're going to talk about, then it's not even worth having a discussion with you.
true.
But then
Right.
I get them when I say, look at all the people that may be in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Paralysis doesn't matter if you're black or white or whatever.
Right.
You're in a wheelchair, but you deserve to have an opportunity to
To
provide a
leave.
living for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. I say,
Hmm.
so with Trump going and disbanding a lot of these grants and programs, this person that was in a wheelchair lost a job because he was able to go to a place where he could work with his hands and
Right.
have some dignity. I said, what
Right.
about them? And then all of a sudden they look at me differently because they
Right.
never thought about that,
Right.
you
But
know?
Michael, it goes back to what you were saying. They don't read. They don't try to learn for
Yes.
themselves. They basically listen to one or two people that's advising them or just speaking out, and they automatically run with that rhetoric, and it's wrong. But they
Yeah.
don't bother to learn for themselves.
They don't. And my question is, Charlie Kirk, wasn't he a college dropout?
He was.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how you gonna lead somebody and you don't have the skill set other than just running your mouth on things that are not facts.
That's
You
right.
don't have any comparative analysis. You
Mhm.
don't have critical thinking. You're not listening to other people. You're just speaking over people constantly.
Right.
And it's sad he had to go out that way. It's really,
It
really
is
sad.
sad.
He was shot down like a dog.
Right.
I mean, boom, there it was. It's horrifying. I'm
Yeah.
sure all
Yeah.
of those students are traumatized by that,
The
and I
Yeah.
don't wish that
students
on
and his
anybody.
family. Yes,
Yeah, and his
Yeah.
exactly.
and his family.
Yeah.
But
Let's take a pause right here. Sean,
okay,
if you're out there and you have a minute, let's do Sean's Got a Minute and see if we can bring our brother Thom back in.
yes.
Sean, are you there?
Good morning to everyone joining in with us. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has Got a Minute. It's hurricane season down here in South Florida, and it feels as if it's been raining here for 40 days and 40 nights. The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season is predicted to be above normal this year due to the oceanic and atmospheric conditions, including warmer than normal sea surface temperatures and a potentially weaker Saharan air layer. What can we expect during this season? Higher sea surface temperatures provide the energy needed for hurricanes to develop and strengthen. A less robust Saharan air layer means less atmospheric dust to act as a natural inhibitor, leading to more open pathways for hurricane development. Preparation is key. Regardless of the forecast, being prepared for hurricane season is crucial. Stay informed by following local and national resources for ongoing safety advice. Be aware of the potential risks and impacts of tropical storms, even if you are inland. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this has got to be.
Thank you, Sean.
Sean,
Well,
yes, that
thank
was
you,
great.
Sean. That was very informative.
Yes,
Yes, yes. Look like Sean's been taking a couple meteorology courses, is
It
I
what
think
happened.
does,
so.
doesn't it? Yes, yes, indeed. All right, people. So start getting your canned goods together, and
Yeah,
get your
batteries.
batteries and your flashlight, and make sure you're
Yes,
you're
weather
ready to go.
radios, all of that.
That's right. And so you
Let
don't
me
have to
ask
be
you
out
this
there
question.
scrambling with the
Let
people.
me ask you this question. Barbara, do you have a generator at your house?
I do not.
You
I
do
don't either.
not.
My
No.
You
neighbor
don't have a
has
generator.
one. My neighbor next door has one, and so if he said, "Come on over if it gets bad. Come over." So
And I'll be going over there with them. So
Okay, okay. I was just wondering because now, they have the generators that cost 10, 12, 14,000 dollars that will run your house for days and what
right,
have you. But you can also get these smaller generators that will say run certain portions of your house.
right,
And one of the ones that I've seen that may be somewhat very economical are the ones that they put out there and they charge themselves by solar panels.
solar, yes,
okay,
I have
Yes.
seen
So
those.
you can pick up one of those, I think at Home Depot, or you can order it or what have you, that has
Hmm.
a solar panel to it. And then that can charge and you can use that to run things, especially for the elderly that may be on diabetic equipment or
Right,
people that have to rely on electricity for
mhm,
their very survival due to their chronic conditions. What
absolutely. I
have
think it's definitely something that the people like that need to look into and investigate because again, I can survive. I've gone through several hurricanes and been without power for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Of course, I'm much younger when that happened, but thank God I'm probably in better physical shape now than I was back then. So
mhm.
I think I could survive for a little while. But like I said, others around me have generators, so if push came to shove, I could always go. Hopefully, be able to travel to wherever they are and
Mhm.
utilize the
Yeah, I'm
generators
hoping,
there.
but I do like that small generator idea. That's something that, because we are so far inland and away from direct impact
Right.
but we are not completely safe. That to have a small generator that runs on solar panels is something
Mhm.
to really consider. I
Yes.
you?
thank you for that because I wasn't aware of that.
Right, right. Yeah,
Now I know.
you can definitely get that. Let's talk about a couple things here. What do you guys think about the upcoming elections? And this is part of what is concerning the okie dokie in chief right now is the midterm elections. And from a historical perspective and just history, this the party that operates or occupy the White House and the party that's in power usually loses during the midterms.
That's true.
That happens over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some concern about the state of the economy because his tariffs and all this stuff was supposed to make it really hum and turn it around, thus firing a person that just reported what the data says.
Right.
And I read this morning where he wants to change the report, I think, from a quarterly basis to an annual basis. As for
He's trying to pull all the rabbits up the hat right now, Mychal.
That's right.
He's really squirming. He's afraid that
He
there's
is.
a big impact with the midterm elections, that the Republicans going to lose a lot of ground, and rightly so.
And and Barbara, if he goes from a quarterly to an annual, you know that there will be no accountability at all.
He's trying to swing the votes now, so there's no accountability. I mean, did he just name with Stephen Merritt or someone he placed on this on the board to serve in some capacity? And he's just trying to swing the votes because he wants the interest rate lowered to make himself look good, not looking at the fact that this could cause problems for the country, major problems for the country. He just wants to do something to try to win voters over to his side, because I think he knows he cannot win the election unless there's something that he can throw out there that can make people believe that he's doing a good job when he's not. I'll stand by it until I die. I don't think he won. I think there's some interference there, and so he knows that there's not a snowball chance in hell or the Republicans will be able to win the midterms.
I read an article, and unfortunately I didn't print it out, but it talked about the midterms. And it said that there are 10 seated Democrats that are not going to run again. And the number of Republicans is more than twice that number that are not going to seek their seat again. This is impactful.
It is.
And so that's why they want to change the district lines in Texas and in other states. This is all part of that. And, we have a very clear history that from 1867 forward, every generation of African Americans, there's been a push to diminish our voting power. Oh, yeah. And it continues. And so what I'm saying then is, we're supposed to be where you can vote and your vote counts and it's an honest election and it happens the way it should. But it's always been a problem in our area, not because of us, but because the rules change. They change the rules every time. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, so this election is going to be very critical, and we need to be watchful beginning today in terms of what would be changed that would impact our ability to vote and having our vote be actually counted.
I agree.
Well, it's interesting though that there's some things that are afoot. Like, for instance, there are several Republican legislators that are working with Democrats to expand the subsidies for what's affectionately known as Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, because they are set to expire at the end of this year.
Right.
And the General Accounting Office and they have said that there would be millions of people that would lose their health care if the subsidies are not extended.
Right.
And so now you have Republican legislators that are now supporting expansion or extending the Medicaid, as well as also extending subsidies for the ACA.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because they like, hey, what they don't understand, there are people that voted for Trump that are also on Obamacare.
That's
Okay.
right.
Oh, of course.
Right.
They don't
And so,
even know.
right.
Right.
And so there are a lot of people that are being hurt by this. And it goes back to what we talked about with DEI. Healthcare doesn't care whether you're black or white or
Don't
whatever.
care what
Okay.
color, what political party you're affiliated with. None of
It
that.
doesn't matter. It's a
Right.
basic necessity of life and what
Right.
we have to have. And
Right.
so that's good to see. And I think that probably as Trump gets closer and closer to being a lame duck,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see more and more defections
Mm-hmm.
from the Republican side, and they'll come back to doing more common sense things
I
because
certainly hope
he,
so.
he won't have the carrot, he won't have the power that
Mm-hmm.
he does at this time right now.
Yeah.
The thing about Medicaid, and I'm very glad you brought that up, Mychal, is that what people haven't thought this through. Grandmama is in the nursing home on
Right.
Medicaid.
Right.
When they slash Medicaid, guess where grandmama's going? To your
Back home.
house.
Right.
And
Right.
you are going to have to give grandmama a bath. You're going to have to feed her. You're going to have to make sure she gets her medications. And if you don't do that, then it's elder abuse. You see what I'm saying? They are in a catch-22. And the only exit I can see for that is that you're going to have to install full-fledged Medicaid. Now, case in point, in West Alabama, there are places that have no hospital. They don't even have an ambulance.
Yeah.
You can, and if they're going to get medical services at a hospital, they have to drive a minimum of an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
There will be more of that if this
Yes.
if they don't take care of Medicaid.
Right. A lot of these small hospitals and medical facilities are going to lose too much money. They're going to have to go out of business. So if Medicaid is slashed, it's going to have a ripple effect on other communities and other families that they're not thinking this thing through. It's going to impact them in ways they never even thought about.
That's true.
So
Yeah. Let's get TG in here. Looks like he's back and with us right now. TG, you with us, man?
Hello.
Yeah, temporarily. We'll see. I don't know what's going on. So,
We have an idea, but we
oh, okay.
The okie doke in chief. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Did you guys do Sean Got a Minute yet?
Oh yes, Mychal
Yes.
brought her right in. Mychal took care of it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we're good. Y'all just keep going. I'm here.
Well, we're on the back half of it now, and I wanted to bring you in so you can contribute to the conversation. But you know, some of the things we were talking about that you came in was the expansion of Medicaid and extending the subsidies for ACA, which is known as Obamacare. A lot of Republicans are now working with Democrats in order to see that through. And that's because they know that they're up for election. And there's a lot of people that are not just on the Democrat side that need the Obamacare and ACA. So that's what we were talking about when you came on.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of the stuff that they thought was aimed at certain people is starting to backfire. And I mean, you can look at the farmers crying about they can't find workers.
right.
You know, you deporting all the workers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what are they supposed to do? But they went out and voted for this man. And, you know, so, hey, he's just doing what he said he was going to do. He's doing what Kamala said he was going to do. Kamala said he was going to do this.
He's
You know?
using Project 2025 as his playbook. And,
That's
you know, it's exactly what he told him he was going to do.
All of us have been involved in different businesses, different structures or what have you. I can't just make a decision about what's going to happen on TWT without consulting you guys, without saying, hey, what do you think about this or whatever. But just to say, no, Nick, we're going to do this because I'm the okie doke in chief. And it just doesn't work that way.
Right.
Maybe it works that way in his company. That's why they've been bankrupt so many
I was going
times.
to say, they've all failed too. So,
And that's why he's about to mess up the U.S. economy.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing
Mm.
I'll just contribute here, and we don't have to go into it because I don't know any more much about it. But you know that guy Charlie Kirk, he came out saying that they need to release the Epstein files.
Yes, he did.
That's true. He did,
He
Tom.
did.
He
Yeah.
split with them, and he
Mhm.
said whatever it takes, they need to release them all. They don't need to redact anything.
Right.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
did say that. You're absolutely right. And then later on his podcast, he said something. He toned it down and he said, I'm going to trust my friends in the White House to do what's right or something like that. And my friends in Congress to do what's right. So, yeah, you're right, conspiracy theorists. MG.
There's a lot of people that say that may have something to do with why he was murdered because
There
he
was
was
a
so strongly
yeah,
speaking out about the Epstein files, and I join him in saying they still need to be released. All these other things, they're hoping is a distraction, but but let's not forget that's something major, and we all still need to see what's in those files.
Just so
we
happens
do.
Epstein killed himself. It just so
Yeah.
happens, it's
Yeah.
like
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
There's a
Ghislaine
lot.
Maxwell is going to be probably pardoned. So yeah,
Mhm. Probably.
oh
Probably.
she go yeah. They don't want to
Because she
talk.
has the playbook. She has
yeah,
the playbook.
absolutely. And it's
There
going to
are
be interesting to see. There's several of the women who were victims in the Epstein situation are now, gathering together and saying that they're going to come out and speak. And if the files don't get released, they have all the information. They'll just release their own. And then all of a sudden, they're gone quiet. So I would love to know what's happening with that. Have they shut those people up? Have they,
Mhm.
moved them to another country? What's going on?
They I just feel that they do what they normally do. They do those threats and they jam their phones, they jam up their emails, text messages, and then they start leaving things at their home that's threatening.
Threatening.
And a lot of some people just can't, they can't take the pressure.
Yeah.
Our generations, our families have lived under pressure in the pressure cooker all of our lives in the United
Mhm.
States. And we've had some times where the pressure was off. But all of us know pressures that our parents went through just because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Other people, they can't take it. They can't take it. My dad told me when he saw them, he and my mother were driving down a back road in Alabama, and here come the night riders with the cross lit up on the front of the vehicle, and the inside of the car light was on, and all you could see the driver, but the rest of them had on their hoods. And I said, Dad, what if something happened? He said, well, I had my gun in my car. I said, you carried a gun? I didn't know you carried a gun. He said, yeah. He said, now they may have gotten me, but I would have gotten at least two. So
Right.
I'm just saying that, that brought fear into my heart as a person born in the 50s. And I'm looking at these young people who are born in the 21st century. And if we don't teach them about these family stories,
Right.
they will think, oh, that was just a myth. No, that was reality. That's where our parents and grandparents lived.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got to share this with you guys right quick. This is interesting when you talk about the age difference, and the young kids now. I heard just the other day on the sports talk show that the younger generation now that are just getting their licenses and driving and stuff, say, I guess the 16 to 25-year-olds or whatever, they like EV cars, but not because of what you think. Like you would think they like EV cars for the environment and what it's touted for.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
But
mm-hmm.
no, they like EV cars because you don't have to stop at the gas station. And they grew up with people being carjacked and robbed and killed at gas station. They feel like it's a bad place to go. So they'd rather have an EV car than a gasoline car. So they
Mhm.
don't have to stop at a
But
gas station.
they still have to stop somewhere to charge the car if they're going on, especially like a long trip.
Well, yeah, but they have charging stations for you. It's not
Right.
like at a gas station convenience store where all this stuff is
Okay.
at. They don't
Right.
have them at that place. They
Unless you
have
go
them
to
at,
Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
yeah,
Bucky's
yeah,
does. Yeah.
yeah.
Unless you go to Buc-ee's. But there is another issue with those EV cars that I read yesterday, that most of the EV cars have these door handles to get in the car. They're flat. They're flush with the
Mm-hmm.
body of the car. Oh, you can get locked in there and can't get out.
What?
Yes. And so all the EV cars, American built as well as Tesla, are now having to re-engineering how they get in the car, because one guy got in there and he burned up. He couldn't get out because the battery caught on fire. He couldn't get out. Nobody could get in because it couldn't get the
Door
handle.
Wow.
So, I think about those kinds of things, and with modernization, there comes a price to pay, one way or the other. Phones are convenient, but your children don't talk to you. They're too busy doing this. So,
I'm in the same room with you and tweet,
yes,
texting you.
and they will come to the dinner table with it. And I tell them, not at my table.
Yeah.
Oh, you won't eat here.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So there are a lot of things that with those electric cars that we really have to think it through. I think we still need to wait a while.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's football season, TG. What you think, man? Tennessee let us down over the weekend. They had the game won, played a great game.
They
Yeah.
did.
Till the end.
Till the
Until
end.
the end.
Yeah.
I just watched a little bit of that, but again, like I said before the show started, I knew Tennessee would lose it. They just have they
Wow.
they're scared to win. I think it's like they're scared to win.
Did they start playing conservatively? I didn't. Again, when I finished, the last I heard, the
There's
score
a
was
thing about a
21-7.
game. Who was that on? Somebody. Philadelphia and Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in that game, it was obvious that Kansas City was going to come back, because you can't just stop playing
Right.
the way you have been playing.
Right.
You can't change that, and then expect, especially in the middle of the third quarter, and think you're going to win. Because that other team, now they were down 2 scores, so now they only down 1 score. So hell, they're energized, man. Because all they got to do is score one time, and they're in the lead. You know.
Yeah.
And you can just see that when that happens in a game, you can just tell. It only happens in midway to third quarter, and so I don't know. I've been I didn't watch all of. I knew Tennessee was going to lose, so I didn't bother to watch all of them. I didn't see Auburn, but who were we playing?
South
Alabama.
Oh, I thought it was the children of the poor, because
It pretty much
we were going
was.
to win that one too.
No need to watch that.
We better had won that one.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. We'll see how they do this week with Oklahoma.
This is going to be an interesting game, but there was another game that was fantastic. That Texas A&M Notre Dame game was
I
fantastic.
didn't see that one.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch that one either.
Well, let me ask you this: what's happening with Arch Manning? He was the future, wasn't he? He was everything that you could ever want in a quarterback, and
That's
what they said.
He was a
What is
quarterback
going on with
made in the lab. Well,
what happened to him?
Tom, you and we said this on the show, that there was a small sample size of Arch Manning.
Right.
And the other thing is that he sat behind Quinn Ewers for 2 years. And then you saw what happened to Quinn Ewers when he went to pros, to the Dolphins. So if Arch Manning couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers or even get more playing time when Quinn Ewers wasn't playing well, that had to tell you something.
Yeah.
So I think his reputation precedes him, but he's not living up to it. And I'm not so sure that he has it. It's got to come from in here. He's living off of his uncle's reputation and his grandfather.
Right.
Okay. So the door is open for him just because his last name is Manning. But once you walk through that door, you got to prove it on the field. And
yes, indeed.
Russell Wilson had a decent game. And, they've been dogging Russ out.
They have been. I feel sorry
Also
for
had a
Russell.
great game, Tom. He
Yeah.
had a great game, actually.
Yeah. I love
You
it
know?
when he throws that rainbow ball. And it just comes down in the guy's hand.
Amazing.
Well, it's so funny when you look at Russell Wilson, for instance. He may be 5'11", 5'10", maybe and probably about 215. He's thick, but they always want to say you got to be this prototypical.
Yeah, you do.
What the data say. You got to be 6'4", 6'5", and this and that.
Right.
Hey, Russell Wilson is not that. He's a football player.
He's a player.
Well, and they were trying to dog out Jalen Hurts this morning because he don't throw for a lot of yards. I mean, I was watching the game. And it's like, damn, Jalen, throw it down the field one time. He kept throwing the little slants or whatever. But the object is to win.
It's right.
Right.
He's winning.
Yes.
And they won.
They won.
I don't know. Sometimes the criticism is just ridiculous.
It's like they try to put them in a box and make them be what they want them to be.
Well, part of it is you take what the defense gives you.
Right.
In other words.
That's true.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now you look at the receivers. They have the little skinny dude from Alabama.
Yeah.
Who's fast.
Smith, yeah.
Yes. And then they have A.J. Brown, who's an all-world receiver.
Right.
So they know that they can burn them deep. So the defensive coach is going to say, don't let these guys get behind you.
That's right.
We're not going to go give them underneath. Right. So if they design a defense to keep you underneath, that's what you have to do.
Yes. And that's what a great quarterback does, Mychal. He reads the defense and plays accordingly.
Plus, they got Saquon. I mean,
yeah. They got Saquon, and they just traded for Auburn Tank Bisbee.
You're right.
From Tank, Auburn.
Okay.
Yeah, they just traded a guy for Tank from Jacksonville. So now Tank is going to back up Saquon.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome team right there.
That'll be good.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, too, the part of the other thing is they wanted to try to keep Jalen Hurts from running and burning them on the run. So they also going to play up closer to the line of scrimmage so he can't run because they try to play contain. So we got to do these little dump offs and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's called strategy.
And they won the game.
And they won the game.
And they won. Right.
We had that team, what they call us the Amazings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty amazing. But at the end of every game, the other team and the other coach would always say that they were the better team and that they should have won.
But they did.
But we always say you didn't win. You won.
Right. End of conversation.
Right. Let's talk about the facts.
Yeah.
Depends, and you think about it, maybe for some people it was boring. Hell, all we did was run the ball. And but we scored 209 points. The opposition scored 140. So we were doing something right.
That's right. But they couldn't stop.
And everybody on the team wasn't happy because I wasn't happy because it's like throw me a ball, man.
Right.
Throw the ball, But we were winning, and so when you win, that's what matters. That's the reason you play the game. And so I've been for Jalen ever since he was at Alabama and got dogged out for Tua, who looks like Tua's on his way out.
I told people a long time ago, I said, if I were starting a team and it was between Jalen Hurts and Tua, I'd take Jalen Hurts.
Every time.
And everybody talking about it. But he leads in every statistical category. I say that's fine. He may be a more talented passer than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is a football player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
He's a winner. Okay?
He's going to get it done. He's going to get it done.
He'll get it done. He'll get it done.
Yeah.
And, somebody mentioned in the chat that teams are playing Auburn like this, and there's been some criticism on Auburn saying they're not passing the ball because we have all these wide receivers and stuff. And we do have world-class wide receivers. Well, as a defensive coordinator coming in to play Auburn, I'm not going to let Cam Coleman beat me over the top. Okay.
Right.
And all these other speedy receivers, we got to stop them. Well, that opens it up for our running backs. And if we have a healthy stable of running backs,
Mhm.
we're going to be hard to stop because they're going to chew up yardage and stuff.
You're
And then
right.
once they start to creep up, then you go over the top, you know.
Exactly.
So
And I think, Freeze is doing a pretty good job of calling his plays.
Mhm.
And I think he probably was doing that same job last year. He just didn't have the quarterback that could execute him.
Mhm.
He couldn't call that guy to run the ball because he couldn't run the ball.
Right.
He couldn't. He was scared to let him throw it once they got down in the red zone because he was going to throw a pick six.
Right.
So, he's got somebody now that he can throw the ball, and maybe it goes to our guys, the other guys.
Right.
So in other words, you say Freeze had few limited options, huh?
Yeah, he did. And I'm kind of glad for Freeze because they were giving him a hard time.
Oh,
And,
yes. He had
they
a
were
hard
ready
time.
to fight him, man. And then, if you think about it, we had Suge Jordan for 25 years. We had
Yes.
Pat Dye for about 15 years or so.
Right.
We probably will never have that again.
Right.
Probably not.
And
Yeah.
and so everybody wants somebody to come in and go straight to the national championship and so on and so forth.
Don't
But
like-
unless you got Cam Newton, it's going to be hard to do.
Right.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having a beast like Nick Fairley on defense blowing up other teams' offenses, we had a
That combination right there. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that offered that national championship.
Yes,
That's right.
indeed.
Yeah.
Nick Fairley went in the race. He picked the guy up and threw him down one time.
He picked him up and threw him down.
Speaking of elections, I read that our head basketball coach is not going to run for Senate now.
Oh, has he finally decided he's not going to?
He said that he loves Auburn and he really loves Auburn, is what he says.
He's
And
so confused.
he's not thinking about running right now, but retirement is in his future. So you know what's happening.
Yeah.
They're setting the table.
Maybe not this year.
Yeah, not this year, but it's
Yeah.
coming.
Go ahead, Michael. Tell us what's happening.
They're setting the table for his son to take over as head coach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what's happening.
I thought after that guy got killed, and then I was thinking, Bruce probably won't take this job. I just didn't think that. You gotta get up and say a whole lot of shit you don't believe. You gotta get up and say stuff, about Obama, and you don't even know the man.
Right.
You never seen him in your life.
Right.
And now you're up here talking negative about. I just didn't think Bruce wanted to go down that road. Now I think some people wanted him to go down that road, and I can tell you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad for him.
Yeah.
Because I think he was getting himself into something that he didn't really want to be involved in. And you and I have talked about this, Michael. You're involved in some ways. You hadn't gone all the way to run for office or anything like that. But they got these people can't be who they are.
Right.
They have to be
No.
somebody else because of the Okie Doke King. And if you don't do it the way he wants you to do it, the way he says, and he's an idiot, and he's an idiot. It's like, what's the guy name from Exxon? He's an effing moron.
Rex Tillerson.
Yeah.
Big Rex.
You just don't want to be involved in stuff like that. Why would you want to be involved in that? When you're at Auburn, they're paying you $5 million or whatever. You're able to get the players that you want. You can love your players and they can love you. You ain't got to treat them like they some third country people because the Okie Doke says you got to treat them that way. I just think if that's the decision he's making the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to say this.
In my
You remember
opinion.
earlier in the show when I said some Republicans are breaking ranks and they are expanding Medicaid and voting for subsidies
Yes.
for Obamacare?
Right.
Guess who is in that group, saying that he's part of the leadership team.
Not Tuberville.
Absolutely.
Are
No
you
way.
kidding
Are
me?
you serious?
Absolutely.
What
There's an
leadership
article, a
team?
picture here and there saying, yes, his people in Alabama needs this subsidy.
And they do.
And they
Yeah, they
sure
do.
do.
Right.
They sure
Hopefully
do.
somebody pulled him to the side and talked some sense into him because he was totally against it at first. So I'm glad to hear that he's now
He didn't
come
know
to
if
his
he was
senses.
for it or against it.
He
He
did.
don't know
He
what they
didn't.
call it, shit from Shinola. He doesn't know it, you know. And
True. That is true, Tom.
I'm sorry, but he
Come
doesn't.
on, Tom, tell it like it is. He didn't know jack.
I'm
You're
sorry.
talking about a man that didn't even know the Voting Rights Act and he was running for Senate. Okay?
He didn't know that.
He didn't know the 3 branches of
I was
government.
gonna
And he's
say,
did
running for
not.
Senate.
three
He
branches of
did not.
government. Mm-mm.
He did not. It's just
Right.
it's pitiful.
And you
That's
think he
why
came up
I
with this
was
idea
so.
on his own? No,
No.
somebody told him.
And I
Somebody
tell you,
told him what to say, what to think.
and
You
I
know,
was
the other thing
very.
about these coaches going into politics, like Tuberville, you know, he coached all of these African American men and young men, and he professed that he was helping them to be Auburn men and all this and that. You have a lot of respect for your coach, and now they look at him now, and I'm sure that when they look him in the face, there is a face of disappointment
Sure.
and I'm sure they don't even talk to him. They don't if they're in the audience, they don't even talk to him. They look the other way and they walk away. I don't think Pearl is that deep down in his heart is that kind of person. I don't think he can really. I think once he was ostracized after he was coach and they put him out, I think he had a come to Jesus meeting. And when he came to Auburn, he came and he dove into the student body, and he really took our basketball program to another level. I don't think he could handle that again, being ostracized, because if he runs for that position and he doesn't toe the line with the okie doke in chief,
Right,
you
exactly,
cut his legs out from under him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
yeah.
only thing
Yeah.
I wish Pearl would do is to recognize Henry Harris. Henry
Yes.
Harris deserved much more than what Auburn University has given him. And
Yes.
he
So true.
deserves to be recognized on that campus as somebody who changed Auburn University basketball, who changed Auburn
Absolutely.
University athletics. Henry Harris and James Owens. They need
I
to be
agree.
recognized.
They
And
do.
I will not stop saying it, and I continue to say it, because you can go out there and talk about the jungle and how all these stuff. Man, I go to the basketball games where you could walk and sit right down on the front row. Hell, there
Yes.
wasn't nobody else at the game.
That's right.
The Coliseum would be almost empty, Tom.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
That's
that was a
right.
big place. That was a big
Yes.
place. And when it was
Well,
empty, it was like echoing, you know?
hey,
Right.
Tom, if they had too many injuries, they'd be asking you to come suit up.
I wish she would give some recognition to Henry. I just think it would be.
Lasting
There,
recognition, Tom. Yeah.
there were people who went to that university in those years that gave much more than they got,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to be recognized. And Henry and James
Absolutely.
are two of them. Just my thoughts. So,
I agree with you totally.
anything else from anybody? Mychal, how was your trip last week?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I tell you what, Indianapolis, I was surprised. When I got
Nice,
there,
isn't it? Nice.
yeah, nobody out on the streets. Hardly anybody on the streets. You can
Mhm.
almost walk down the street and count people. I was like,
Wow.
I said, where are all the people, man? He's like, what you mean? Because we were downtown. I went by the arena where the Pacers played, past Lucas Oil Stadium. That's right in the heart of downtown. There was a little bit more traffic. And then when we got out to the hotel where I was staying, which was a neat place, by the way, I would say it's kind of like Midtown Atlanta, where you move out a little bit. There was
Mhm.
hardly any traffic. You can just walk down the street and don't even hardly have to worry about looking for traffic and stuff,
Wow.
But the hotel that I stayed in, it was a boutique hotel, but it was called the Bottle Works Hotel. It
Hmm.
was a former Coca-Cola bottling
Okay.
distributor building that they
Ah,
converted into a hotel.
okay.
And it was really, really cool. and right across from it, and they call it the Bottle Works District, this whole area. And right across from it, they call the garage, and they have like food courts in there and what have you.
Oh,
And then they
wow.
got what they call duck pin bowling and stuff, and all
Yes.
this stuff, kind of like an adult arcade and stuff, and brewery and stuff, and all this. But it was pretty cool. That hotel was pretty sharp. Yeah.
Did you go see the Fever play?
No, the Fever weren't playing when I was in there because they were getting ready for the playoffs. They're actually in Atlanta playing Atlanta first round. As a matter of fact, I think if it's tomorrow or tonight, Atlanta will eliminate them because they don't have Caitlin Clark
No.
and she's out.
Right.
So
Out for the year.
Then
Yeah.
that other woman's out too. That
Yeah.
other Sophie, whatever her name is, she's
Yeah.
out. They got several injuries.
yeah,
But I enjoy watching them. The only thing they can't do is dunk. And but other than that, man, they can shoot that damn three.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
That three from the bathroom, buddy. And it's a set shot,
Right.
Well, Tom, in due time, we will grow them tall enough to dunk.
Yeah, I think so.
It's coming.
It's I like watching them play. Though.
I do too. I do
what
too.
kills me is when they make a move or something, or they hit a shot that's been contested, and they get all excited and they pump their fists and stuff. Like guys, that's what I like. It's funny to watch it or go down and make a power move and score. Like in the old days, we used to call it three the hard way. When
Yeah.
they
The
do
hard
that-
way.
Yeah.
when they do that, they go. This stuff is funny.
Yeah, that what's her name? Inescu plays for New
Yeah.
York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, she tough.
Yes.
She dribble that ball like a point guard. I mean,
Yeah.
she be
Yeah.
handling that ball, boy.
You
Yes.
can handle it.
But what I like about her, like you're saying, how she's handling the ball and driving, but when she does that step back, she got
Yeah.
the step back
Yeah.
back down, man. She stepped back just like a brother.
It's over.
Yeah.
And shoot it.
Yeah, I enjoy watching.
Delicate ladies.
Yes. I just hope that they will continue to increase their pay.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
more and
they
more
should.
people are attending and finding the joy in women's basketball. They need to have serious pay raises.
I
I
agree.
know Indiana's making, man, that place is so filled up.
Packed.
And they
It's
play.
packed.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
hmm
It's the number of people, and that's a recent phenomenon.
It is.
You know, they didn't have it.
Mm-mm.
I remember when they started women's sports. I mean, I think it was around '76 when they
Mhm.
started the women
Right.
to playing, and
Right.
it was recognized. So,
Mhm.
anyway, I'm glad for them. Anything else from anybody?
Well, that's it for
Have a
me.
great week.
Appreciate you guys putting up with me this morning. I don't know what was wrong with my thing. Every time I went out and came back in, it said, well, go out and come back in again.
Oh,
So I
my. Yeah.
did it about 4 or 5 times. All I could hear was I get one word from one of you guys and then it go out again.
Oh, wow. Mm.
Anyway, we're back now. So
Yes.
anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
Thank
Have
Have a
you.
great
all.
week.
Have a
All
good
right.
week and thank you.
Yeah, let's have a good week. You know, it seems okay, so my closing comment, first of all, I want to thank the team for taking it over. I had a lot of issues, computer issues today, but we seem to work out. So my closing comment is I want to say a hello to my good friend Pat Eddington over in Mobile. I hope you're doing well. I read something yesterday that you're doing a lot better. And so maybe I'll get a chance to see you or talk to you sometime soon. I want to say congratulations to the Auburn football team. They're playing the way that you'd like for them to play. I want to remind you all to grab a copy of the James Owens book, The Story of Integration of the Southeastern Conference. And James Owens, who was the first black football player at Auburn University. It's written by myself and Sam Hayes with an afterword written by Gloria Owens, James's wife. Book is in both paperback and hard copy, and it's available at all the bookstores. You can get a signed copy at bestgirl.com. We will send you a signed copy. And that's it for this show for this week. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. We appreciate you putting up with the issues we had this morning as far as the computers go. I want to thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, and Mychal, and Joyce. And that's it for this September the 16th in the year 2025. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.